Welcome to Slasher Sunday, or is it Slasher Sunday? I've been told in my comments ever since I started doing these kind of more questionable slasher movies, ones that I've gotten some pushback on, or ones that, people would disagree with, uh, like 10 to Midnight, which I did last week, Cobra, and Silent Rage with Chuck Norris. So there's a bunch of those, and every time I seem to do one of those videos, I get comments saying, if you've done this, you should do Cruising with Al Pacino, which I had never seen. It's from 1980, and it's directed by William Friedkin. And so I kind of just took everyone's word on it and was like, all right, fuck it. And I rented it tonight. And I definitely would not classify this as a slasher, but then I feel like people would be like, well, how do you find this not a slasher, but you find other ones slashers? To me, there's no real, the stock and slash elements of this are very light. But I can see what people are talking about, and I guess I'm not going to argue it. I'm not going to sit here and try to argue it too much. I'm just saying that of the slasher Sundays that I've done, I would definitely have to say this is the least slashery. I think there's only 2 kills in the movie that we see done by the killer, and while they can be sad and kind of unsettling, I don't think I'd go for a slasher, but that's okay. That's okay. I get it. There's some slasher elements, so we'll stick with it. I watched it, and I don't have time to watch another one, so there you go. Anyways, so yeah, this stars Al Pacino. It's got a fucking amazing, secondary cast here. A lot of bit roles, in here by pretty well-known people, to me anyway. Being Joe Spinell and Mike Starr, who play cops in the opening of this movie. Mike Starr I know from a lot of shit. God, a lot of shit. The more I think about it. But, I think Dumb and Dumber might be one of his more famous roles. The Gas Man. And then we got Ed O'Neill, Al Bundy himself. We got James Remar from Dexter and the Warriors. We've got Powers Booth. Holy shit, man. I looked him up, and I didn't remember that he had died in 2017, which I was pretty bummed about. But I think now that I'm thinking about it, I do kind of remember him dying, but man, what a cool name. Powers Booth. We got Karen Allen in here, she plays Al Pacino's girlfriend in this, and she's such a beautiful woman. Man, she is beautiful. And this is back in, her glory days. This was around the Indiana Jones days. This was around, Scrooged would have came out later, 86 maybe. And, this is 80, so, but God, man, she's such a beautiful woman. I will say that, okay. And then there's, other people like freaking Paul Sorvino and whatever. Anyway. Oh, and another person that's in this, which was crazy to me, is the killer from 10 to Midnight, which I just watched last week. So he's in this as well as a... I don't know if he's like a prostitute or what. He's dressed up like a woman, so I don't know what the right term for that would be, because I don't really know what he's trying to do there. I don't know if he's a cross-dresser or if that's even a term anymore. I really don't give a shit. But he's in this, and it was I was like, is that him? Is that fucking him? It sure as hell was. So I thought that was pretty damn cool. So there's a guy out killing. He's cruising for killing. Al Pacino's cruising for him, and he's also cruising the gay bar. So there's a lot of meaning to the cruising title, but this guy's out killing people. The cops are wanting to solve this murder, of course, murderer. And Pacino is brought in and asked one of the most awkward questions I think a boss could ever ask you. You ever sucked a man's dick or ever had your dick sucked by a guy? You ever been... Did he say porked? I swear he said porked. I didn't rewind it, but it sounded like he said, you ever been porked? That's... Guys, I just love that term. I just love that term. That's just the funniest fucking term ever for me to talk about sex. You ever been porked in the pooper? Like, there's just no funnier way to say that. Anyway. But yeah, he puts him undercover to go find this guy. And I'm not honestly sure what the plan is. Like, he fits the body type. So they just like put him out there. And then Al Pacino just kind of wanders around gay bars in the hopes that he'll get stabbed, like that he'll get approached by someone who seems suspicious. That's the plan. I don't think it's a very good plan, but at the same time, they don't really have a lot to go off of. I just don't know, like, we're going to keep this secret. No one can know but me. You know, it just doesn't seem like that high profile to me to keep it a secret like he is. Like, I get it, you're undercover, you don't want a lot of people to know, but like no one, just them two. I don't know. Anyway, but at the end of this movie, I have to say, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I liked the style of it, but not so much the substance of it. I just felt like so many things were left kind of unexplored and underdeveloped. Like, a good majority of the movie is just Al Pacino walking through gay bars, and I get it, like, maybe there's some latent homoerotic tendencies in him. I think that this is what the movie is trying to say about his character, that he's gay potentially, and he wants to like deny this, and this is why potentially he ends up killing this dude at the end of the movie. That's left kind of open for interpretation of like, who did this? Was it his boyfriend, or was it Al Pacino? And I definitely think that's the most interesting element of this movie by far, is Al Pacino's kind of like breakdown throughout this. Like, he's trying to have sex with his girlfriend, and he's struggling to do that because he's been going around. And at first you're thinking this is just because of all the shit he's seeing, you know, but then when you start to really kind of think about it, it's like, well, all he's really seeing is gay guys being gay guys. And if this is affecting him as much as it is, then there's probably some kind of like denial. There's some kind of, you know, repression of him. So I think that it's definitely open-ended. It's definitely open for interpretation. But my interpretation of it is, the way I choose to take the film, is that they sent him in there to find this gay killer, and in doing that, they kind of make him a gay killer. Like, you know, not only is he gay, but he's also killing gays. That's the way that I interpreted this ending in this film, just kind of like the systematic breakdown of his mind and questioning his sexuality. Now, yeah, because when he's in the gay bars, there are scenes where he's checking everyone out, and you can take that as like, oh no, he's just investigating the scene. He's just this and that. I mean, the way the film plays and the way his character's playing, I just don't see it. I think it's very kind of obvious that he's questioning things, that he's maybe more into this than he would ever have thought he was going to be. And, you know, he does get somewhat of a crush on his neighbor. And, you know, when he goes to see him, this boyfriend's there, and the guy has a knife and he's hostile, so it very much looks like it's probably him that did it. And that's left completely unresolved. But it's Pacino that's the mental case in this. He's off for sure, especially when he breaks in the room with James Remar's character and he's going at him, and he kind of walks out, and it's like he's like being a jealous lover, you know. So yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Pacino killed him. Um, and it could be like that scene from American Beauty. He went in and kissed him, and the guy was like, "Oh wait, no, no." Obviously, the guy was gay. He was a gay screenwriter, but maybe he just wasn't into him, and he fucking lashed out irrationally because of that. Who knows? I mean, that's where the open-ended interpretation is. But I think it's pretty clear that Pacino did it. I mean, just Paul Sorvino's response to that of seeing his body is like, "Oh shit," or "Holy fuck," or whatever the hell it is, which is just it's like kind of suspicions, but pretty solid suspicions, like educated guess, so to speak, because he starts reading off like his neighbors, and then he hears the name, which he knows that's the name of the alias that he gave Pacino. So it all adds up. I mean, I mean, you could argue that it was Remar that did it, but I don't think that would hold much weight from what we got in the film. I mean, I just think, yeah, it's pretty obvious, and really the only thing left open for me is why he did it. But as I said, I'm under the guise that he did it because he wanted to hide his homosexuality. Now, the whole like gay bar scene, this I can't speak on the matter, especially this is 80s gay bars. I've never been into a gay bar in my life, but I've definitely seen it interpreted this way in a lot of films, whether it's Body Double or Nightmare on Elm Street 2 or whatever. I've seen a lot of gay bars on screen. The one in Body Double is a gay bar, right? That's got to be the Frankie Goes to Hollywood thing, Relax song, and all that shit. Yeah, it's been a little while since I've seen it, but my memory of that scene is it's a gay bar. But anyways, what's up with the biker stuff? What's up with the biker leather and all that? Like, I don't understand. Like, what is that? Where did that stem from? Where'd that come from? Where'd the biker thing come from in the gay community like that? There's so much biker shit going on in gay clubs. And it's like kind of maybe related to S&M because S&M has a lot of leather. So it's like, I don't know. Because like a lot of bikers, like a lot of like real bikers, when I say real bikers, you know what I mean. Like the kinds of bikers that you would envision when someone says a biker. They're like big, burly, tough dudes who are like, a lot of them are like very manly, very heterosexual, very, So it just seems like a subculture of people that are like super not gay. But these people kind of don their, their clothing, their outfits. It's an interesting wardrobe choice, but I see it so often. I don't know if it's like the YMCA or Freddie Mercury or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, I was just thinking that when I was watching, I was like, what's up with the leather outfits? What's up with the biker gear? But like the super gay version of biker gear. Anyway, and maybe they like started doing it to like, maybe because gay bars were like, maybe they like tried to make it seem like it was a biker bar, so they wouldn't get shit for their establishment. I don't know. I'm just I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. The first kill in this movie is really fucking sad. This guy is just terrified, and he's like, I mean, if a dude was like telling me to like flip over on the bed after he had a knife on me, hell no, hell fucking no. You might as well just go for the knife. Flip over and then start letting him tie you up. You know you're getting stabbed. Fuck that, man. I'd rather be stabbed fighting than stabbed laying there incapacitated. unable to defend myself in any regard. You're gonna stab me, I'm gonna get a fucking eye out of you or something. You know, I'm gonna try something. So, you know, you're ever in that situation and someone has like a fucking knife at you and they're like, roll over, get on your belly, and put your arms behind your back. Fuck that. Fight back. Doesn't matter. You're getting killed anyway. So, what do you got to lose at that point? And the stabbing is interesting because it's clearly like one of those like collapsible knives, like spring loaded knives, that just goes right into his back. But it's also spliced together with shots of like full on anal penetration, like a dick going into an ass. It's very, very quick. It's like a Fight Club, you know, kind of thing where Tyler inserts the porn for like millisecond. It's like, you think you saw it, but did you? It's like one of those things, but it's like very. I went back and paused it just to like be like, is that what I fucking thought it was? Sure as shit was. I also found it interesting that the killer actually has sex with the guys. You know, this kind of reminds me of Jeffrey Dahmer. Supposedly, from my memory of reading about Jeffrey Dahmer, his first kill was accidental because he had sex with a gay guy in a motel room, and the guy was gonna say something, or like he was just mad. He ended up like trying to shut him up and like putting his hands over his mouth and his throat, because Dahmer's father was like hardcore against homosexuals, and like he could never accept that he was a homosexual, so it was like this total repressive thing. So he like tried to shut the guy up and ended up killing him, and then I think he obviously got away with it, but I think he like got away with it, and so like, you know, years had passed, and then he ended up slowly kind of doing it again, doing the modeling thing as he did with those guys that he brought over to his apartment. But yeah, I found it interesting. I feel like with these kinds of movies, they usually are like hunting homosexuals to prove they're not gay, and then, you know, they get there and the guy like drops to their knees and he's like, die faggot, or something like that, you know. But this, he's actually, like, from what I can tell you, I think it's pretty obvious that he's actually fucking these guys, like, before. And he's for sure fucking them now. Whether or not he's fucking them before, after, or both, I don't know, because they say they find semen in the guy's anus. So he's definitely fucking these guys. But no sperm, so he's sterile, which I don't think plays into the movie at all. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think that actually becomes a plot point of any sort beyond that. Like, the guy's shooting blanks. Okay. Is that it? Does that mean anything? I don't know. Did I miss something there? Because to me, it's just part of the evidence that doesn't ever really matter. And then when Pacino gets that other guy arrested and they're getting interrogated, and then the weirdest scene in the fucking movie happens where like this big black naked cowboy dude walks through the door, and basically all he's wearing is like a little fucking G-string or whatever the hell. It's like assless something, I don't know what the fuck those would be called. But he just walks in randomly and just slaps Pacino across the face and walks out of the room. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And Pacino's the same way. He's like, what the fuck was that? What was that? What the fuck was that? And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck was that? It was so random. It was so random. I still don't understand it. I don't understand why they had some big ass fucking cowboy looking dude naked coming in the room and, you know, smacking him around. They could have had anybody walk in the room and smack him around. Why'd the guy have to be like some big black naked cowboy guy? Like, I was so confused by that. Was it like you're being interrogated by your own people? You know, other homosexuals, or some guy that looks like he's homosexual? I got nothing on that one. It was so random to me. It was just like a scare tactic, I guess. Like, this is so random. You're gonna be scared. I got nothing. I got nothing on why that guy was in there like that. You know, imagine watching an interrogation and then just some big ass cowboy dude who's like in a G string walks through the fucking door and just starts slapping people around. What a weird tactic for the police to use. Anyway, maybe they thought he'd be into it and fess it up. Fuck if I know, dude. But that's just it. It's just like a lot of the movie is just kind of like Pacino walking around and watching gay dudes being gay dudes. I'll say this, like, man, I'm glad I'm not gay, because, like, especially at this point, you know, especially at this point in time that the movie's set in, I want to say the AIDS epidemic was pretty new. I know it was in the 70s, but I don't think it like really hit its height where like people were freaking out about it until maybe a little later into the early 80s. Could be wrong on that. Maybe it's like the late 70s and or something. I don't know. But anyways, these guys are just fucking like going to town. And I just like, if I was into dudes, like, I love chicks, man. Like, you guys know that. Fuck. Do I ever? But I can't just like walk into a place and just like look around and just fuck. Like, I couldn't even imagine walking into a club and there's just a plethora of unlimited options of women who are just down to fuck right then and there. That would be so hard to give up, honestly, for myself. I know that's not everybody's like me. You know, some people are just much more monogamous by nature. But yeah, I definitely have that wild side in me. So like when I look at that, I think like if once I started going somewhere like that, because that's what this is for these guys. They're homosexuals, obviously, so they're like around a bunch of dudes who are just ready to go at any time. They're just sitting there and they can just blow each other in public. Like everyone's just sitting there watching each other blow each other and all that shit. I walked into a club and like I could just like walk up to some chick I found attractive and then just start banging her right there, and like everyone around, all the chicks around me were watching me bang that chick. That'd be the hardest thing for me to ever quit doing. That would be 10 times harder than me quitting drinking. That'd be 10 times harder than me. I never did heroin or something, but I feel like it would be harder to quit than fucking heroin. I did quit booze, so I know what that's like. And just, yeah, I don't know. It really was, I was thinking about it a lot while watching this. Just like looking around the bar, looking around the scene, just thinking like, whoa, man. If you're into these dudes and everyone is just so down to fuck all the time, it would be intoxicating. It would really be so hard to handle. So I almost feel bad that, you know, clubs like that are so promiscuous, because it's got to be fucking tough to not want to go out and do that. Monogamy's got to kind of be hard once you've experienced that life. You know, I've lived a wild life, definitely had my share of interactions with ladies, but nothing on that scale. Nothing where I can just walk in and fucking like almost literally point to somebody and be like, let's fucking go. Like, I don't got it like that, and I don't know anyone that does outside of maybe like a celebrity or something. But even then, I don't think they have it like that. Yeah, that was just one thing I was thinking about while watching this. Fuck, man. So, yeah, in that way, I definitely wish. Or should I say, I'm glad that I'm not gay. I would not wish to be, because there was a point in time where I was like, oh man, I kind of wish I was gay, because you just get laid anytime you want. You know, you just fucking go out. And maybe the real world isn't like that. Maybe some of you will be like, I'm gay and I fucking never experienced anything like that in my life. But this is how it's portrayed in films all the fucking time. But then again, I've seen tons of films where, you know, a guy walks into a bar and a chick walks right up to him and is like, let's fuck. which has happened to me once, but definitely not on a, like, you know, steady occasion. Anyway, when he kills people, he says, "You made me do that," and I guess he's like trying to appease his father. I'm assuming his father like wasn't okay with homosexuality, and he's like trying to rid the world of gays or something, and so like he's reading letters because Pacino breaks into his house, and the way that like Pacino figures out who the killer is so fucking lame. This is where like the exploration of these characters is lame to me. Like there just should have been more interaction, you know, like Pacino taking different guys home, maybe even fucking like going further and further with the guys. That I think would have been much more interesting. Like let's say the first guy he brings home, you know, he tries to touch him and Pacino freaks out. Then the next guy he brings home, the guy touches him and he lets it go a little further, and then it's like kind of pushes him away, and it's like, and then he like starts questioning himself, like, what the fuck was that? Like, what was I doing? Why did I let that guy touch me? And then the next guy would be like, I guess maybe that would kill the ambiguous nature of the ending, but to me it would just be a much more interesting exploration of this guy's kind of like um, exploration of homosexual culture, and you know, maybe his latent tendencies that he's either never noticed were there or completely denied were there anytime they came up. So that was for me kind of not anywhere near as interesting as I feel like it could be. And then also just kind of like the investigatorial side of things, just like how he was investigating this, and just how it didn't seem to really have much of a plan in place, and the fact that it's just kind of like he goes around, and then they're like, oh, well, here's some high school or college pictures that you know, went to school with this guy that was murdered. Like, here you go. And then he recognizes one of the faces, and he's like, oh, I've seen this guy out, and I'm just going to go to his house. Like, it's just so uninteresting to me. Like, it should have been, you know, the guy should have remained in the dark. We could have heard his voice. We could have seen him in the shadows, and then Pacino could have like taken 4 or 5 guys home, and 4 or 5 guys are slightly kind of coming back in and out of his life, seeing him at the bar, you know, whatever, having his suspicions, having his sights set on one versus the other, you know, and then it ends up being one of those guys. And the kind of the mystery element would have been good there. But we know who the guy is, and the way Pacino finds out who it is really not all that climactic. It's kind of like, oh, and here's some pictures, and oh, there he is, okay, go for him, and I'm just gonna break into his house and find some letters. It's, I don't know, it's too convenient, it's not climatic enough, and for those reasons I just found the film to kind of be a little bit of a chore. Like, yeah, stylistically it's cool, but it's just not stylistic enough for me to be fully entertained, and I just feel like this could have been executed better. So, and anytime people are playing pool in a movie, it drives me nuts. I don't know why actors can't act and play pool at the same time. I don't know why this is a thing. But watch any fucking pool scene in a non-pool hall movie, you know, don't be going watching Pool Hall Junkies or fucking Color of Money or The Hustler or something like that. Obviously, they're going to be playing pretty good pool in those movies, but just random pool that's being played during a dialogue scene, like in Billy Madison or something, dude, these guys are like lightly hitting the balls across the table. They're not even hitting anything. Then they're going a second time, like happens in this movie. The guy like hits, he misses, and then he just goes again, and then Pacino pays him for the loss, and it's like, huh? Why do you get to go twice? Like, it's just like, ugh, anytime people play pool in movies, I just want to scream. Like, please just try to actually play while you act. Why is it that difficult? Why is, like, hitting the cue ball? Like, people play fucking pool. I know how to play pool, don't you? Like, I hung out in the pool halls a lot when I was younger. It's really not that hard. Everybody knows that I hit a fucking cue ball into other balls and make it look like they actually are going for a real shot. It shouldn't be that hard to act and be able to do that at the same time. It's a pet peeve of mine. It's a small nitpick, but for some reason it drives me crazy every single time I watch a movie that has that in it. Pacino's high dancing when he like sniffs the rag with whatever the fuck is in it. is pretty wonderful. And him and his girlfriend like split up because she's like, "Where have you been?" And he won't tell her. And then, he goes away for a while, and then he comes back, and she's like, "Oh, you're here," and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I just got back. Can I stay?" And she's like, "Sure." That's not interesting. That's not realistic. You fucking disappeared. Where the fuck have you been? What the fuck is happening? I mean, yeah, he's like, "Oh, I'll tell you everything. Hold on." But like, she just welcomes him back with open arms. Bull fucking shit, man. Bull fucking shit. In my experience, please, please. Maybe some guys got it better than me in that way, but shit. Disappear. Fucking make it seem like you're not interested in her anymore. Just bail for a week or two. However long it's been. And then he just shows back up. He's in her house shaving. Like, why the fuck are you in my place? I thought we were done. And he's like, "Can I stay?" And she's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna go try your wardrobe on." What? Anyway, I found all of that to be pretty silly. I think the outfit she puts on maybe is the killer's outfit. Is that accurate? Yeah, that's probably the killer's outfit, huh? So that would also signify that he has now become the new killer. Okay, I didn't even put that together until right now, but that would make sense. So if that is the killer's outfit, if that's his jacket, and if that's his hat, and those are his glasses, then that would make perfect sense that he's kind of taken up the mantle now. That he's okay. I like that. Yeah, probably is true. I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch it, but I think that's right. Okay, that's cool. And dude, just the interrogation scene in this movie is so wrong. It's so fucking wrong. Like, maybe fingerprint the guy first. What do you think? You got fingerprints on file, so fingerprint him. Oh, it's not him. Okay, let's not interrogate him any further. Like, moving on. But beating a guy and locking him in a room and interrogating him for 20 straight fucking hours or something, he's gonna tell you whatever you want to hear eventually. This is just wrong. This is just outright fucking wrong. And I'm glad this is not a legal tactic anymore. I'm sure it's still used. I mean, just because something's illegal doesn't mean it's not used here and there, but it's just not an efficient way to get a true confession out of somebody. I'm not saying I know how to do it, but I'm saying for sure that ain't fucking it. That ain't fucking it. And yeah, and then at the end they offer the guy like an 8-year plea bargain. 8 years for murdering multiple men. 8 years? What the fuck? No way. And I think that's basically it. I mean, he's doing it all for a promotion. So that's what that's what he's going off of. But then he kind of becomes obsessed with it. But I feel like there could have been much more interesting stuff going on there, like between him and Paul Sorvino, him and the captain, of like, "What do you got for me?" And he's like, "You're just out there fucking around," and whatever. I just don't find that as interesting. Just like the way it handles, it's just kind of like, "Hey, what's the report?" "Oh, nothing." "Okay, well, here's some pictures." "Oh, well, that's the guy." It's just there could have been way more drama there. There could have been way more exploration of characters and the situation. So, yeah, and I think that's it. I'm good. 34 minutes. Oh God, I'm done. Bye.